What's down, people, and welcome back to another episode of Ghetto Gospel. So where we left off at. Last week, we talked about how Judah ain't let Tamar smash his last son because he figured he might lose him like he lost the last two. Tamar came up with a plan to get that baby bat up out of Judah since she couldn't get it from his son. And once it was all said and done, Tamar ended up with twins, and Judah ended up realizing how wrong he was. And now we caught up. This week, we getting back to talking about what's going on with Joseph now that he done got himself sold into slavery. I know the recap ain't say nothing about Joseph in this situation. I'll put a link if you want to rewind back to that episode. So the chapter start off saying that when Joseph showed up in Egypt, this dude named Potiphar bought him. Remember that boy brother sold him like a slave. And it say the Lord was with him, and all the stuff he did turned out straight. Hold up, y'all caught that? That man was a slave. You think he felt like the Lord was with him? Probably not. Yet and still, it say the Lord was with him, and God made sure things were straight.
Message.
So obviously, because he was out there shining, the dude that owned him was impressed and put him over everything he had. And from that point on, the Lord blessed that dude's house and everything in it because of Joseph. Literally, all that man had to think about was what he was going to eat. And the next part say that boy Joseph had them looks, and his master's wife was trying to get that boy to give her the business. But Joseph wasn't trying to do that. He told her that she was the only thing his master kept from him, obviously because she his wife. Then he said how he'll be down bad if he did that and sinned against the Lord. But she wasn't trying to hear that. She kept throwing it at that boy every day, and he kept saying the same thing. So apparently, one day he went up in the house to handle whatever business he was supposed to be handling that day, but it just so happened that it wasn't no other servants in the house. So homegirl grabbed that man and was like, "Get in my belly!" And that boy Joseph pulled the Usain Bolt and beat feet up out of it. But homegirl grabbed a hold of his clothes, and something got left behind. Once she realized she still had his clothes in her hand, she called the rest of the servants in the house and lied, talking about how her husband brought a Hebrew man in the house to make a fool out of them, and how he tried to smash her, but she screamed and he ran away, leaving his clothes there. So she held on to Joseph's clothes till her old man got home and told him the same lie. So obviously homeboy was pissed off and had that boy Joseph threw in Supermax. I don't know that it was actually Supermax. It just say they threw him in a prison where the king's prisoners went. So at very least it was like federal prison. Now, I ain't sure how true what I'm about to say is, so one time I heard somebody say that Potiphar probably knew his wife was grimy because he had Joseph through in prison and not something worse. I'm not super sure where they got that from. What I do know is that the records left over from ancient Egypt say that according to their law, the punishment for rape was death or castration. In my mind, they the same thing. If you don't know what castration is, and that'll kind of jive with that theory. So Joseph ain't even much did nothing, and now he done went from being a slave to being a prisoner. But watch this. The next part say that the Lord was with Joseph and was kind to him and made the warden like him. Again, y'all caught that? That man was a prisoner. You think he felt like the Lord was kind to him? Probably not. Yet and still, it say the Lord was kind to him, and the warden put him in charge of all the prisoners. And he was pretty much responsible for the whole prison and everything that happened up in there. And just like with Potiphar, the warden ain't have to worry about nothing that Joseph was in charge of because the Lord made sure that everything he touched was straight. So that's it for this week. If you don't know Jesus, but you're trying to get to know him, go and click that first link in the description down there. I'll see y'all next week. And as always, peace, and I hope y'all people straight.